Hello, my friends, and welcome. Today we have some of the outstandingly great news, as you may see on this fire detection satellite image. Yes, this is the Russian Novorrosiysk port that was hit several of the times the last night. Ukraine really nailed it using not the drones but missiles. What kind of? We're gonna speak in this video. But also going to touch the negative aspect of the last night because Russia launched the record strike on Kiev city in particular. Many of the ballistic missiles, many of the hypersonic missiles, drones, everything of that hit even civilian infrastructure, multi-story buildings where people were just sleeping. It was very loud. There are numerous reports, numerous videos shown that Russia really conducts those war crimes hitting civilian infrastructure, including power plants and really critical infrastructure of Ukraine. And unfortunately, there are some of the life losses. Well, let's start from Novorrosiysk. Well, to avoid restrictions of this platform, I'm gonna show you just still images. I'm sorry for that. If you want to watch videos of kabooms, I'll put them on Telegram channel in a video description just below. Telegram just has load censorship together with X, platform X, Twitter. So here is definitely a kaboom of the Russian oil infrastructure. This is the biggest Russian oil port in the Black Sea, Novorosiysk. The second one, the second biggest, is Tuapse, that was already hit several of the times by Ukraine, including drone boat attacks. Well, here Ukraine used very devastating missiles. And just look at the scale of this kaboom. Those are, I think, three-story buildings or something like that. This is some of the construction site in the front. And on the background, just look at this mushroom. It is huge. I usually follow this channel, Supernova Plus. They have a great analysis of the Russian channels and they publish the visual information. And look at the scale. This is the town itself. This is the mountain on the background, some of the clouds coming. At least two of the big strikes happen in that oil facility, basically oil port for the Russian tankers. Well, not just Russians, but it is widely used by the Russian shadow oil fleet. Locals filmed it from multiple of the angles and everything out there is on fire. The place was geolocated by our OSINTs and let's check out the Google map itself. I want to show you the facility. So this is Crimea, Black Sea, and this is port of Novorosiysk, and the facility itself is over here. The infrastructure belongs to the Transneft, so 3.1 reviews, not many. A large organization that doesn't even know what traffic rules are. Everyone parks their cars however they want. Well, I think it's one of the list of their problems they encounter. Our poor nature, what hasn't it suffered? What? Well, that's the translation. It's beautiful here. Yeah, I agree. Now it is very, very beautiful. This comment really underlines what happened the last night. So the oil tankers dock to those oil lines, they're being refilled and they go to trade Russian oil elsewhere. That's how this oil facility looks like. So the tanks actually buried underground, you can see, yeah? So the structure comes underground here on top, but mainly protected. However, those pipes are exposed and the oil goes to the port infrastructure using those pipes. Not any longer, it seems like. And as it's been reported, Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk suspends oil exports after Ukrainian drone attack, sources say. So the damage was so significant that facility is physically unable to process oil any longer, and it might take few months to restore the capabilities of this enterprise. At least some of the sources familiar with the company management tell about it. Devastations are crazy. It's not the regular drone strike because Ukraine used cruise missiles. No, not Flamingo. Neptune. And Ukraine already published the video. This is the launcher of Neptune cruise missile. We're speaking about not regular Neptune, but the long modification of this very capable missile. Compared to Flamingo, it is capable. As I say to you, Flamingo probably was used the night before to hit Russian Orel power plant. It was a successful strike. Well, maybe partially successful, because today I have the confirmation that after all, Russia shut down one of the missiles. Well, missile itself is very huge. I mean, Flamingo. Neptune is a very small, nimble, but still capable to carry significant payload, well, at least more than a drone, and it's actually very hard to intercept Neptune. Neptune is a legendary missile, which was used in many of the occasions. The most famous one is the Russian Moskva ship, of course, which was downed by classical Neptune. Also, Neptunes were used to hit Russian Psyche airfield, which is located right at the shore of the Black Sea. It happened in 2022, as far as I remember. Well, Ukraine improved missile, and now it has the long-range modification. Really capable, may fly not just over water but also over the ground. But in this case, those missiles traveled over the water surface because it's more or less safe. The long Neptune looks like that. It was presented a few months ago on some sort of the exhibition. Additional fuel tanks to increase the range, and there is the jet engine inside that propels this missile. Well, allegedly Flamingo has 3 times longer range, but it has never been used on that long range. And I already told in my previous videos that if Ukraine really needs to hit something precisely and with almost 100% guarantee, Neptune is good to go. Flamingo, still, it is not that capable, it is wet, and hopefully Ukraine will be able to modernize that missile, but there are some of the physical parameters, like for example size of the missile, which makes it less capable and more visible for Russian air defense systems compared to Neptune. Neptune is similar to Tomahawk. If you speak about the ray deflection surface, so this missile is not that visible, and we have the proof that Russians didn't see this missile, even though Russia deployed their S-400 systems to protect Novorrosiysk port, because it's very important for Russia. But nevertheless, Ukraine hit not just the port infrastructure, but also Russian air defense systems, S-400, and numerous of those, it seems like, were kaboomed. Let's watch the video. Yeah, this is the video. Again, I take it from the Supernova Plus, one of the best channels out there for immediate gaining the access to the video photo information coming right from the eyewitnesses. Sorry, I cannot play it, but I'll share it on my Telegram, as I say to you. And there you can see a very huge kaboom and those sparks flying all around. This is the sign of the rocket fuel. Usually we see that firework, then air defense system is hit, some sort of the Buk or maybe S-300. S-400 as in this case, and let's find out what it was out there, because there is the mall and some of the tower. Yeah, the mall is a little bit yellow, kind of the big building. Let's go to the Google Maps. I really like to have this map analysis. I'm a map guy, so not just this oil infrastructure was hit. For the mall, we should go over here. It's called Lenta, Giper, Lenta Plaza or Mall, something like that. Also, you see yellow building. This is the road, exactly the same building. And here is this tower, yeah, that we saw in the background on this image. Yeah, looks like everything fits. The building and the tower and the big kaboom. So let's see what is there behind. We need to travel a little more, a little more. Oh, what is this? Some sort of the military base. Nice. And let's go a little more. Oh, nice. This is the air defense system, guys. S-400. Those are the launchers. You can see, yeah, this is the shadow coming. So the sun shines from the south here, creating this shadow, and those are the vehicles of S-400 systems. And why it's S-400? Because the radar itself is definitely from S-400, a big one, yeah? And oh, we have even more of the S-400 systems. Let's calculate how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I guess that at least partially we may speak about the kaput of those systems. Oh, by the way, one more radar is over here. So just imagine the significant air defense capabilities that Russia has in Novorosiysk, and still they were not able to intercept those cruise missiles because they fly very low and they were out of the radar coverage. And what they've done, what Ukraine done, it kaboomed the S-400. Well, what was hit exactly, we don't know how many of those systems were hit, but for sure there were multiple of the explosions, not just one, because eyewitnesses filmed the video one big kaboom, then the other one, and continuous fire. So definitely Ukraine bull's eye this facility as well. Well, some of the air defense could sustain minor damages. Some of the air defense could be intact because, after all, they're not placed one on top of each other. Yeah, there is some sort of the distance, but significant damage is done. I'm waiting for satellite images to confirm the data, and I'm sure that they will be provided in the coming days. And again, go northbound. So here is this hypermart, and it was filmed from this sort of the angle, yeah. Also in internet there are multiple of the videos, like for example eyewitnesses film the same kaboom from those residential buildings. So why Novorossiysk is so important for Russia? Because it is one of those ports that Russia may use for the oil exports during the winter time. You see, Russia itself is big, it has access to numerous of the waters, but they mostly freeze during the winter time. That's why for Russia it's important to get the access to the warm waters of the Black Sea. There are multiple of the countries in the world which are way smaller than Russia, but they have better port infrastructure, better water access than Russia. It's actually a very terrible geographic thing for Russia that it is so huge but has just a few of the ports for exports, and it is one of the crucial for that thing. So kinetic sanctions against the Russian oil have been applied. Ukraine is very serious hitting Novorossiysk. Ukraine is also very serious hitting the second largest port in the Black Sea, Tuapse. There were already 3 of the drone strikes on this facility hitting this pipeline, and also, I guess, this one too. There were 2 sea drone strikes, one strike using drones, and recently Flamingo missile was launched, but Flamingo, it didn't aim directly to this infrastructure. It hit just the beach over there. So as I say to you, Flamingo is still in lack of the precision. So for this reason, Neptune is way better, but Neptune is also more expensive cruise missile for Ukraine, and Ukraine is in lack of capabilities still to produce Neptune massively as Flamingo, for example. And just a couple of words about the recent corruption scandal in Ukraine. I have to say about it because Mindich was also allegedly connected to the Firepoint company, which is producing FP1 drones, FP2 drones, and FP5 Flamingo. And that Firepoint company obtained the biggest amount of the funding from Ukrainian government to produce drones and missiles. And now it seems like Nabu is interested in that company too. New York Times published some of the accusations against that company. I even filmed a video saying that those accusations for now are early to tell. There's no evidence that they were involved, really, this company is involved into corruption schemes, but it could be uncovered in the future. So as for me, as for the side viewer, yeah, I would like to see more funding for Neptune missile project, because reviewing the operation of Ukraine using those missiles, Neptune has almost 100% accuracy. So compared to Flamingo, Neptune is good to go. Yes, it has, again, lower range compared to Flamingo, but Flamingo has never ever been used for 3,000 kilometers yet. I think that the maximum it flown to Tuapse, which I showed you, and also to Orel, and that is not that far away from Ukraine. And the longer the range, the less precision you have. And if there is not so good precision at this shorter distance, it means that something should be done to improve missile capabilities. I am saying about it, then I speak about Flamingo. And this video is published from Orel the day before yesterday. Here, unfortunately, they shut down one of the Flamingo missiles, as I said to you, because of the size of it. It is well recognized by the Russian air defense, and Russians may shut it down. Those are the debris falling from the skies, but still, some of the missiles at least, maybe 1 or 2, they hit the local power plant. Totally 3 were launched that night from Ukraine. As for the launcher vehicle, you can see that before it was way bigger with the classical Neptune, and this one is more nimble. This launcher is also in lack of this control room, maybe it goes separately. And also it could be that this one may carry 4 Neptunes and this maybe less. Oh, we have the morning images coming from Saratov, where Saratov oil refinery is located. It was hit, by the way, 2 days ago, and now the smoke comes from the same facility somewhere. Well, definitely Ukraine last night was very serious with its strikes on Russia and Russian-controlled territory also of Donetsk Oblast. Yeah, this is Donetsk, and locals report about several of the kabooms happening in some of the areas. It's hard to tell what was hit there because we don't have lots of the information coming from those occupied regions. Maybe because of the censorship, I'm gonna monitor the situation and tell you maybe with next update what definitely was hit. And now about the strike on Ukraine, it was one of the record ones if we speak just about the Kiev city. Hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles were launched by Russia. It was happening simultaneously with the Ukrainian strike on Novorrosiysk, so it's hard to tell who respond for what. I think that Ukraine planned the strike on Novorossiysk well before, at least a few days before, and that was successful. Well, Russia, if they really want to aim towards civilian infrastructure, they are successful too, because multiple of the buildings were hit. By the time Ukraine hits Russian logistics, Russian sources for income, Russia just continued to terrorize Ukraine. For example, this multi-story residential building, but it's not the only one that was hit. Yesterday there was the fire. There is one more building that was hit, one more separate, and as I told you, also TATS, so it's the thermal power plant, was hit as well. So there are blackouts after the strike, plus lack of heat and water. Russia wants to make living in big cities of Ukraine not possible. Ukraine officials are now looking maybe even to evacuate part of Ukrainian population from the big cities to the smaller ones if locals agree for that, because there could be a humanitarian catastrophe even in capital city of Ukraine. And one more residential building hit. From what I counted, around 5 were hit for sure, judging on those images, pictures coming, maybe even more, because not everything is published. This is not some sort of the military facility, just someone's apartment, and it's gone. For this hour, 5 of the persons reported to be unalive because of the Russian strike. The Reuters journalists filmed everything on their camera, and they also filmed the interception of the Russian Iskander ballistic missile. It was intercepted by Patriot system. And that's the booster engine of the Patriot that also was found somewhere in Kiev. So by the time living in Ukraine is getting harder for average Ukrainians, Donald Trump, according to the Washington Post, is looking to deport Ukrainians back home or to the countries as Poland, according to this article. Trump administration preparing to deport Ukrainians despite fears of conscription. Not just conscription, but the fear of the war, because many of the people who are now on the U4U program, United for Ukraine, in the United States, they're actually in a very terrible state because they don't know what to do. Their program mainly is not being extended, and also they left their homes in the eastern part of Ukraine as well. Those homes are being occupied by Russians, destroyed by the war. So where Donald Trump wants to send those people? Because even in Kiev, as you saw, it is very dangerous for Ukrainians. Plus, how can you imagine this life for normal person without water, electricity, without heat during the winter time? There could be temperatures down to -15, sometimes -20. Especially in January, those temperatures could be very cold. So that is what Russia is doing. They want to make living in Ukraine not possible, well, at least in the big cities. But Trump absolutely doesn't care about this humanitarian stuff. For him, those Ukrainians are pain in the ass, probably, because mainly they are not supporting Trump's policy. Like, for example, me, and I think most of the Ukrainians, they don't like Donald Trump. And that's the main reason, I think, for him to deport Ukrainians. Because actually, even now, Russians may apply for political asylum to United States of America, and they have higher chances, actually, than Ukrainians to obtain the asylum. So, of course, this policy is broken. There is disrespect to Ukrainian people as the class of people who suffer because of the war, who might be suffering because of this deportation. But Donald Trump, he's inhumane. he doesn't really care. As I told probably in the previous emotional video, that for Donny, aggressor and victim, they're equal. Who is more stronger wins. He doesn't have this morale. So I'm happy actually that I'm not in the United States of America. Otherwise, I would face huge issues with U4U program. And I cannot imagine, people with the kids and whose households were demolished or occupied. Now they will receive some deportation notice, and here in the article they say that Trump may use even military airplanes to deport Ukrainians, as he did already with some of the illegal immigrants. But they actually went to United States illegally. They applied for official U4U program, and Donald Trump just cancels it and he deports everyone to the war zone. Crazy. So guys, as usual, we have good news, bad news, but I'm very impressed about the Ukrainian strike on Russian Novorrosiysk port. It really plays the great role for the Russian oil export. It is outstanding, honestly. Yeah, it is great. And later on, I'm gonna update you with another video relative to the frontline updates. Of course, I'm gonna record at least 2 of the videos now per day because we have lots of the news coming. And guys, if you want to support the job that I do here on my channel, you're very welcome to follow me on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below. And you may also join the membership of the channel by pressing the join button somewhere over here. And thank you so much for it, because you make this content possible. I rely on you because usually, I have some issues with YouTube monetization, and even my 2 recent videos were restricted. That's why I try to avoid those restrictions, but always something is wrong with that one. So thank you for supporting my job on Patreon. And if you don't have this opportunity, you may just press your like to the video and also subscribe for the channel to propel a video in YouTube algorithms. You make this content more popular, and thank you for that as well. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.